In this unit, we'll learn how content-distributed networks work. These networks can include Netflix, music, video or podcast services, e-trading, and more. The key question is which architecture and methods are required to support the flow of selective information out of an almost infinite database to an equally enormous number of clients. The first option is saving all content on a powerful mega server with a huge memory. This option brings with it a number of problems. The first problem is a single failure point, which might crash because of a blackout or attack. The second problem is the especially high load on such a server. Infrastructure is incapable of transmitting this volume of information within the desired timeframes. Duplicated information will go down the same line repeatedly, sometimes even in parallel. The third problem is the terrible reaction time as a result of the distance between the mega server and the customers on the other side of the globe. Another problem is that the mega server doesn't have an infinite memory capacity. So in the case of increasing volume or content options, memory will have to be added again and again, and the infrastructure will have to be infinitely under maintenance. Another, better option is keeping the contents in a number of geographically dispersed servers. This method is called CDN, which is short for Content Delivery Network, or Content Distribution Networks. This method geographically distributes proxy servers as content centers. The goal is to provide high availability and performance by providing service from one or several servers to the end users. This method was invented in the late 90s in order to solve bottleneck problems in internet traffic, but with time became more and more relevant due to the rate of data growth and its quality. Today, content providers sometimes use external CDN services for a financial reward and store the content on servers. The CDN servers store the content in multiple copies on different servers. Sometimes the distribution between servers is done according to a specific policy or legal code, such as demand, clustering by interest, language, state, or more. The end user searches the contents, which can usually be found on the server nearest to them or a group of servers if there are overloads. The CDN method is considered another internet layer. Content providers like video and e-trading services pay to run global CDNs to store their content. In parallel, the people who operate CDNs pay the ISP to host their server address, for example, in the local DNS. There is a number of questions begging an answer, which often vary from provider to provider. For example, which server will the end user download the content from? The nearest server? The least loaded? Maybe a combination of both. Maybe a number of nearby servers. Should one customer be prioritized over another? For example, according to the geographic region the service request came from, or by the client's monthly payment. Which server to store on? What content, and how to classify it, according to language, by demand, or maybe even preference. To understand the problem, let's look at the following scenario. Let's say Bob wants to get a specific video from the site netcinema.com, and he puts in the complete address into his browser address bar. Afterward, there is a referral to the local DNS server in order to convert the URL into the IP address. The DNS refers to the reliable server, which returns an answer with the IP address with the reliable DNS server of the CDN operator. In our case, King CDN. The DNS server of King CDN returns the IP address of the CDN server, which is storing the content. The local DNS server saves the address and sends it to Bob. Finally, Bob accesses the site and downloads the video directly from it. In this unit, we learned about the CDN method as an extra content delivery layer, which solves problems of maintenance, volume, and speed in service delivery. We presented questions that should be answered according to the CDN operator's policy, and saw a full scenario of getting video by using CDN.